morning basket time. And it is a very popular thing, but some people think that, my kids have outgrown that, or I don't even know what that is. I've never done that before. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that and tell you that you can use morning baskets with older kids because I have done so successfully and I really, really enjoy them. All right. If you have not heard of morning baskets, we're going to start there because we have to know what they are. And I promise I'm not going to give you a big long lecture about it, but we are going to start there. Before I get going, I wanted to say one thing. I have a new ebook out. This is a printout of the cover. It's called Considering Homeschooling, a Beginner's Guide to Deciding if Homeschool Fits Your Family. And it's just a little guide. It's $2.99 on Amazon. It is an ebook. And so if you are considering homeschooling, this will help you make the decisions that you need to make. If you know someone who is considering homeschooling, you can point them to Amazon and they can get this ebook right there. I just wanted to let you know that. This came out, I think, last week. So just wanted to share that resource with you. All right. More sure or but credit is given to Pam Barnhill, and she is still pambarnhill.com, and Jennifer Mackintosh. And Jennifer Mackintosh also has a blog called Wildflowers and Marbles. She kind of says morning time, and the other one said morning basket time. And it's not a new concept. People have been gathering their kids together for morning time, circle time, morning baskets, probably for as long as homeschooling has been going on. But they kind of coined the phrase, made it more popular. I first came across this from Jessica Waldock at the Waldock Way. And she also has a Facebook group called Morning Baskets and More. And I have gotten so many good ideas from that group. When I first came across the concept of morning baskets, I had already been doing like a morning time. When my older girls were little, we had done a morning time together. And I may talk about what we did one day. But morning baskets didn't come to my attention until my girls were a little bit older. I was down to two students, and one of them was in high school and one of them was in upper elementary. And when I first saw about morning baskets was little kid morning baskets. Now, preschool, pre-K is my love language. I have a degree in early childhood. Planning pre-kindergarten stuff just comes as easy as breathing to me. Just give me a theme and I'll brainstorm some great things to put in your basket. I absolutely love that age. And morning baskets can be very thematic at that age. Let's say your kid is extremely interested in dinosaurs, okay? If they're very interested in dinosaurs, you just throw your dinosaur books, games, puzzles, a letter D lacing card, all kinds of things can go in there. Some toy dinosaurs with some Play-Doh, all kinds of things can go in your morning basket, and you can do a dinosaur-themed morning basket for a couple of weeks until they're all done with that. And then you move on to a new theme of something else that they're interested in or that you want them to learn. And so that's how it works when they're little. And so I can see why people might get to the older ages and think, my kids are going to, this is going to be so lame to them. They're going to say, Mom, I'm way too old for morning baskets. Your morning basket has got to evolve with your family. And as they grow, what goes in the basket has to grow as well. So those are some great people to go to for ideas. They all still have ideas on their websites. Some of the things that are typically put in morning baskets, and there's really no set thing. I mean, every family does it differently. But one of the main things is books that you're going to read aloud to the kids. Okay. So read aloud books, whatever your family is reading, because the purpose of the morning basket is to get your whole family together, all of the kids, from the youngest all the way to the oldest. And you're going to do some things right there at the beginning of the day together before you all split off and go do your individual subjects. So this is the one time that you have everybody together. So when they're little, it may be like a calendar time, sort of more circle time kind of thing. And you're going to do those little things with them. As they grow and get older, it's going to change. So read alouds is the one thing that does not have to change. The books may get longer that you read to them, but this is a time when everybody can gather. Now, if you're reading a book that is really kind of for the older kids, you're going to need some stuff in your morning basket for those younger kids to do while they're listening, because they're going to need something to keep their little hands busy so they can be quiet while you read. And that, of course, takes training. You might put some Legos in there. There might be some Play-Doh. You might have plastic canvas sewing, all kinds of things that you can put, maybe just something to draw on with crayons, something that they can do with their hands while they listen to you read aloud. So a read aloud, that kind of stays the same no matter what age your morning basket is for. You just need bigger books as you go. But some people start their morning with Bible and prayer. If your family does that, this is the great time to do it, because you want everybody in your family to be there while you're doing those things. And I'll talk a little bit about some Bible resources in a minute, but this may be the time when you do kind of your family devotional and your prayers in the morning and get your day started off like that. Some families include poetry, reading poetry aloud. This is a time when you can share that with everybody before the day gets going. Maybe you'll work on some memorization stuff that you've got everyone in the family, maybe Bible verses, maybe poetry, maybe some just things that you're working on memorizing. This is a time that everybody can work on that together. And then there are always some subjects that you can do more together in your homeschool. Now, if you've got kids that are very close in age, I've always kind of envied that. Mine were very spread out. If you've got a fifth and a sixth grader, you can do a lot of things together with them. So in your morning basket might be subjects like science and history, because a lot of times those can be done together. Math, very individualized. Reading, pretty individualized. But science and history, everybody can kind of stay on the same page with. So you might go ahead and, while everyone's together, go ahead and tackle those subjects as well in your morning basket. So it doesn't have to just be a bunch of random stuff that you pull together. It's actually just kicking off your school day and getting all those together things done before everyone goes off to do their other stuff. All right, so what about older kids? So I am talking about upper elementary all the way through high school. I did this even with a senior in high school. The first thing you have to ask yourself is, what does your family all enjoy? That is the main thing you have to ask yourself. And for us, that answer was art. And I don't mean that we're great artists, but me and both of my girls loved drawing. We loved doing art. And so if there was art involved in it, they were both all in. So I knew whatever I did in our morning basket had to have art in it. So one of the things that we did was for Bible, and it's from Grapevine Studies. Now, this is just one of their books. We actually did the entire New Testament. It's a much thicker book. They have an entire thing for the New Testament. We did a study on the book of Esther. This is just another book they have. But Grapevine Studies is the company, and you literally stick figure your way through the Bible. And so it's very simple. You just read the passage, and it tells the kids what to draw. And so we would get art journals out, maybe a mixed media book from Hobby Lobby or Michael's, and they would have the pages, and we would do that kind of thing. One year we did through the whole entire Old Testament, and they just drew whatever they wanted to. We'd read a story and they would draw it, read a story, and then we do it chronologically through the Old Testament one year. So that was handling Bible/art all at once, two birds with one stone. But talking about art, one of our favorite things we really ever did was the year that we did, I think we called them special days journals. Okay. And I came across this idea, and I actually brainstormed this idea in the Morning Baskets and More group. And some people said some things that made me go, yeah, that's what I'll do. So this is mine. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my beautiful art. But I divided our books up into squares. I went ahead with a ruler and pencil before school started and divided every page up for each week. So this is 1 week's worth of work. And then I found a great website called angie.gensler.com. Now, she is not a homeschool site. You're going to look at it and think, am I on the right thing? angie.gensler.com. She's actually her web page is to help you grow your business. So what she has on there is lists tons of hashtags that you can put on your website to drive traffic and things. And so if you search Angie Gensler, like right now I searched August 2025, Angie Gensler, August 2025, and she has an article called 250 plus August holidays in 2025, fun, weird, and special dates. 250. So she's got tons of things to choose from. So what we would do is we would open up and we would read the funny days, whatever the National Pizza Day. That was That was in September that year, National Pizza Day. And we would draw a picture, National Read a Book Day, Grandma Moses Day. Okay, we don't know who Grandma Moses is. All right, let's turn on YouTube real quick. Let's learn who Grandma Moses is. So we had a lot of learning go along with this. Obviously, Cheese Pizza Day, there's not a lot to learn. We had cheese pizza for lunch. Very easy, very fun. So we just chose which one we wanted to illustrate. And I think at the beginning of the year, we were very big about like this week we had to use watercolors. One week we had to use 3D objects in there. One day we had to use cut paper. So that's a day. So we tried different media. So we really did make it art plus learning. And we learned a lot. It was really fun looking up what the history of these days were, why they were a fun holiday. And we did learn a lot while we did it. And that was just kind of a nice way to kick off our morning when everyone's kind of sleepy and they knew they were going to get to come in there, learn a little something funny, and do an art project about it. So that was a great way to kick off our morning basket time. And you may not have kids that enjoy art that much, but that is one thing that worked for us. Another thing I did one year with my older kids was I went and raided my parents' record cabinet. My mom and dad lived down the street from us, and they have an extensive record collection from back in the day. And I went through their record collection and grabbed some albums just for inspiration, and then we looked them up. So we would do a musician of the week. I think we did one a week. This is Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, and I have heard Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass on Reels. It's very popular audio right now of one of his songs. And my girls recognized it as well. And they were like, that's Herb Alpert. I know that one. Because one week we learned about who Herb Alpert was. And then we listened to him on YouTube. We looked up videos and listened to his songs all that week until they found out which one that was their favorite. So I would just pick up all these older artists. This is Nat King Cole. You know this song, L is for the way you look at me. O is for, it's a very popular song. It's used in a lot of movies. And Nat King Cole has great stories about him, great history. So we learned all about him, listened to a lot of his hits, and it just expanded my girls' knowledge of artists that they were not aware of or didn't know about. Of course, when it came time for holidays, we pulled out classics. And so I just really felt like my girls enjoyed that part. YouTube has just about everything you need, and you can just watch those videos or just listen to them on Apple Music or whatever. We could get our Alexa to play it, and they really enjoyed that part time. So kind of a little different twist on music appreciation. We weren't learning about the symphony or all different instruments. We were just learning about different famous artists of the past. So that was kind of a fun thing to do. Another thing that we did kind of felt like more like a subject. Now, this one's a little controversial. Classical Conversations put their materials for sale for anyone to buy several years ago. And I know I have several friends that do classical conversations, and I know there's a lot of heavy feelings about that. And I actually see their point from their point of view. But from my point of view, as somebody who doesn't use classical conversations, I was so excited to get my hands on some of these materials. I know I'm not using them 100% up to their potential, but I got the Classical Acts and Facts history cards, and I purchased these and a little binder to put them in, and it just goes through ancient world history. We went all the way through, and you just do a card every day. On the back of the card, it has an information about it. And if it was something that they already were familiar with, we just read the card and we moved on. If it was something in history that they had really never heard of before, then we stopped and we learned that thing. Again, turned on the TV, went to a YouTube video, and we learned that thing. Now, to go along with these cards, there is a timeline song, and the Homeschool Helper is a YouTuber who has, it's free on YouTube. He has a ton of resources to go along with classical conversations. Again, we don't use classical conversations, but we benefited from this. So every day we would go over a card, and then we would listen to the timeline song from the Homeschool Helper on YouTube, and until the girls learned the whole thing. I felt like we learned so much about world history that year. It served two purposes. My oldest daughter, who was a junior or a senior in high school at the time, was getting a review of all the stuff she had already learned in world history. And my younger daughter, who had been doing American history up to that point and had not learned this stuff, was getting an introduction to world history. She actually starts world history this next year as a course. And so it's going to be interesting to see how much she learned. She did a little bit of world history last year too. So that was a great way to spend our morning basket time as well. Another thing that we did was, uh, and we usually did this at lunch. And let me just stop and say real quick, you don't have to do morning baskets in the morning. Just saying that not everybody's a morning person. Some of you are like, oh, this just sounds awful. There is no way I need to sit here with my coffee and I need everybody to not talk to me. I am not ready to read books out loud. I'm not ready to be listening to music and all of that first thing in the morning. I get that. So if you want to do afternoon baskets, and some people even do bedtime baskets because they just have a different schedule. There really isn't a set time, and you don't even have to call it anything, morning basket time or whatever. But at lunchtime, we always watched Carl Azuz. Now, he used to be the host of CNN Student News, which was later called CNN 10. And now he hosts his own news channel called The World from A to Z. And so we get on YouTube at lunch. It is a 10-minute, 9 or 10 minute news program. It is completely nonpartisan. It is the best news source I've ever seen. He literally just tells the news. And it's very nice. He's a great host. The girls have always enjoyed him. We have had lunch with Carl Azuz for nearly 10 years in our homeschool. So we really don't ever want to miss that. We started that when my oldest daughter, had to do some current events. And that just fit the bill because we keep up with what's going on in the world by watching that little 9-10 minute program every day. So that can be a part of your time together as well. One year we did, excuse me, one year we did a geography review every morning just so they would keep up with the skills that they had already learned. I didn't want them to forget different things that they knew from geography. And now that I'm down to one student, sometimes we do badge work. She's in a scouting program. And so sometimes we work on some of her badge work with our morning basket time. One more thing that we did, and this is kind of an old one. You can't find these anymore. I got them used. This box has seen better days. I got them used on eBay, I want to say, years and years ago, and they're called Marie's Words, and they were made by students, I believe a homeschool family, and they are to get you ready for the SAT. And they're all these vocabulary words, and they're pictorial. This is the word longevity, and they've got long life, and then they've got it like that. And on the back, it has the definition, the parts of speech, synonyms and antonyms to go with it. All of these are hole punched up in the corner so that you can put them on a ring. And so they're very easy to remember because they're very visual. And so every day we would add a new vocabulary word until we would just go over them and over them until we knew all of those. And then I'd start on a new set the next week. I'm so sorry. So you don't have to have Marie's Words. You can just use any vocabulary that you find, but that's a great thing to do, is to go over vocabulary words. I was doing it for the older kid. I was like, you're in high school. You need to get ready for the SAT. You need to learn these big vocabulary words. But I am here to tell you that the younger girl learned them right alongside. Nobody told her it wasn't her business, so she learned them very easily anyway. One year we did inventors and inventions, and just every week or every day we focused on a different invention and learned about those. Just again, we used YouTube, we used books, and I think I had them draw in a journal what they had learned about. Again, we've done poetry. It's a great time to pick up flashcards. If your kids are very competitive, you can have the younger and the older kids compete against each other on flashcards. It's a great review for older kids, and it really motivates the younger kids if they want to beat big brother or sister at something. So that's something you can do. Anything that you can do as a whole family. So you really just have to be very creative and think, what what does my family enjoy doing? What do we need to learn together? What can we knock out right here together before we get started on the day? You might even start it right there at the breakfast table, especially if you have littles, because they are seated maybe in a high chair. They have food, so they're busy, and you can just get a lot done while they're sitting right there. And then you move on to the parts of the day that everyone has to do on their own. So there really aren't any rules. You don't even have to have a basket. I actually kept mine in a wooden shelf type thing, and we had it there in the living room. It needs to be easily accessible, and you just really want to make it a cozy and a time that they look forward to. So if you've got kids that crochet, they can keep their crochet supplies right there, and while you're reading aloud to them, they can be working on their handicrafts, or like I said, Legos, whatever. Have some things for them to do. It is supposed to be a time they look forward to. You've got to establish some ground rules. Everyone needs to sit, everyone needs to listen, but it's a great time to knock out a lot of things. Like I showed you, I was handling art and Bible all at the same time. So we're just checking a lot of boxes off with this little time in the morning. Now, how long does it last? Well, it depended. Anywhere from 10 minutes to 45 minutes. I mean, it's totally 100% up to you. If you're doing whole subjects like science or history, then you're going to take a little bit longer. But remember, you're getting some of your school subjects done for the day. So that's pretty important. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know morning baskets are a powerful thing, and your kids will not outgrow them as long as you make that morning basket work for the ages that you have. Now, what if you have all the way from babies and preschoolers all the way up to high schoolers? Well, you're going to have to kind of aim for the older kids in that setting. They're the ones you have the fewest years left with. And so you're kind of aim for what they need, and the little ones pick up a lot. They're listening, they're learning. They don't know it's not for them, so they end up learning things faster. So it's really a powerful thing to do. Maybe you need to cater to the younger ones a little bit, and you can have the older kids kind of help with that and just have them pull them aside and say, "Look, I know some of the stuff we're going to do in the morning basket is not really exciting for you, but I would appreciate you helping, teach the little ones these things." It really is a family time in the school day, and that's really important. We don't need to all be split up in different parts of the house, never being with each other. That we need to keep the home in homeschooling. So this is a really great way to do that. I hope that this has given you some ideas as you plan for this next school year. I want you to think really hard about what you can do with your morning basket and how you can do it. I will try to maybe, I don't know, I've never done a live before. If I can put it in the description, if I can put it in the comments, I will give you these links that I talked about today so that you can go and check those out and get some great ideas for your own morning baskets. Thank you very much for joining me.